Alright, so the goal here is to get all this stuff connected together. Okay, so it's not as easy as Legos.
New, interesting, random, tall guy films.
Alright, obviously it's not as easy as Legos. We're not 8-year-olds. Actually, if you are an 8-year-old and you're watching this, that's pretty impressive. I'm not sure why an 8-year-old would be interested in the stuff that I'm doing, but you know, if you are 8 and you're interested in this stuff, that's pretty cool. And keep being interested in that stuff. Alright, so the goal here is to get this Nexus 7 used as a monitor mounted on the G7 along with a piece of audio equipment. In this case, I'm using a Zoom H2n just because that's what I have handy. But it's just, you know, a piece of equipment that's going to typically be mounted alongside a monitor. So, you know, you could replace this with a shotgun microphone or whatever you may be using. Maybe a wireless receiver for a lav mic, whatever it is. The point is that you should be able to mount something alongside your monitor on the camera. So, to start out with, well, let's just talk about what we got here. You got the Zoom H2n, like I said. I've also got this wind muff thing that just goes right there. I've got this, which is a device that allows you to put a phone or a tablet into a 1/4-20 screw. I've got this shoe extender, which allows you to basically mount multiple things on a single shoe. I've got this sun shield. I've got a mount that allows you to take something with a 1/4-20 screw and mount it on a shoe. And then I've got this ball head, which again has a shoe on one end and a 1/4-20 on the other end. So yeah, and I don't know the specific names and brands of most of this equipment, but I will have links to everything in the description that you can go check out. So if you're interested in any of this stuff, go check it out via the links in the description. So, to start out with, I mean, it's basically just putting pieces together. It's not too difficult. So, you know, you just mount this on here. And one thing I really like about this is a Velo hot shoe or cold shoe extender. I know the brand of this, but it actually allows you to not only mount this on here, but you can actually take this and you can adjust the mount itself relative to the extender, so you can turn it or adjust it, which is really cool because the shoe on the G7 is not directly centered, and I don't think it's directly centered on most cameras, so this allows you to adjust it so that the center of weight will be even and it's more flush with the camera, which is awesome. So the next piece is going to be the monitor, which this just slides in here super easily. And I do have a case on my G7 to protect it, and again I'll link that in the description. But now with this piece slides down, which is super cool actually. So it allows you to adjust this to the size of whatever you're mounting. So you could mount a phone on here or something like that. I think the largest it supports is something that's 7 inches, so you couldn't mount like a full iPad or something, but you could mount something smaller like this Nexus 7 or your phone or whatever. So yeah, and then from there, I'm going to mount this one, the monitor, with this smaller thing. The reason is that this is not a very good ball head. If you had a nicer ball head, this might work, but I don't want to mount something super heavy like this monitor on a super cheap and inexpensive ball head. So yeah, I mean, this is basically just screwing stuff in. It's not super difficult. It's mostly about getting the right hardware, and I obviously don't actually know the names of any of the hardware that I'm using, so yeah. But it's in the description. So basically all you have to do is read the description. You don't actually have to watch me, what I'm doing. Okay. So yeah. So the disadvantage of mounting this way is that you can't adjust the direction that the monitor is facing, but that's not that big of a deal. And like I said, you could buy a nicer ball head than the one I bought, and it would be no big deal. So yeah. This is probably super boring, and if you're watching this, I don't know why. You should just go check out the links in the description. I like how I'm discouraging you from watching my video. That's actually pretty terrible. You should watch my video, even though I'm not actually doing anything in it. Okay, so yeah. So, oh, this ball head is crappy, and it's really bad at staying in place on many levels. So don't buy cheap things like this. Okay, so yeah. So now I've got a super unstable and janky setup, but I've got a monitor and audio equipment mounted on here. It's not, as you can see, stuff wobbles around. It's not super stable, but it works. So as long as you aren't like swinging your camera around, it works. But like I said, mostly the issue is the ball head. Just invest in a better ball head. And then also, a big part of it is if you don't want to mount multiple pieces of equipment, you can just get rid of this shoe extender and just mount your monitor directly on, and you now have a much more stable system. The thing here is, though, that I would much rather have, if I'm going to be mounting a monitor, it's typically a scenario where I want some kind of audio equipment mounted on as well. But if you're doing your audio entirely separately, then you can just mount the tablet directly onto the camera, and it will be a much better solution. You just won't have an external audio solution on there as well. So also with this, I did buy this sunshade. Okay. I did buy this sunshade, which I think was a mistake. It's not designed for being used with this sort of thing. It's designed for a specific type of monitor, but it was supposed to fit the G7, and it probably does, but the issue is that this piece right here is going to interfere with this, and also there's basically no access to the buttons while you've got that mounted on there, and also it's not a very good fit. So we're ditching that, and what I'm going to do is make a DIY sunshade, and like, I could do it in this video, but I'm going to do it in a different video, because I'm a procrastinator, and I don't want to do it right now. But yeah, so the sunshade, I'll be doing a video on a DIY sunshade that I'm going to make to fit this, but it'll be a solution that you can make to fit any monitor if you wanted your own DIY sunshade. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it. There's nothing difficult about this. Again, it's just about getting the right mounting hardware and knowing that it's, like I said, not going to be a super stable solution, but it works well enough. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you want to know what any of this product stuff is, like I said, check it out in the description, and please use the links in the description, because I do get money if you use the links in the description. So do that, because I like money. And then also, like the video if you liked it. If not, hit the dislike button. That's boring, don't hit the dislike button, hit the like button. Comment if you have any questions about my experience using this stuff, because I probably was not very good about explaining my experience using it. And then also, if you want to see more videos like this, like my upcoming DIY sunshade, please subscribe.